You're listening to the Sports Scramble Podcast, where four friends serve up a weekly plate of sports with a side of SEC bias. Now, here are your hosts, Chet, Jacob, Wade, and Tyler.
Let's go!
Welcome in, everybody, to this week's episode of the Sports Scramble Podcast, hosted by our friends over at Belly Up Sports. Well, you've got the whole crew tonight for the first time this year, maybe the second time this year. The whole crew. Jacob is back. He is no longer running Home Depot at night. He's running it during the day. Jacob, how's it been? How's it going?
I'm a little tired, while all you guys are sleeping. That's the meat and potatoes of my day. So, no, it feels good to attempt to get back on a regular schedule. That's for the birds. That's all I know.
So is it like Night at the Museum? Do all the tools come to life at night, and then you have to chase them around?
God, I wish.
No, just the crackheads.
Yeah,
in the parking lot.
Yeah, I came in like 2 nights during the week, and the cops were parked outside both nights, and I'm like, what is going on? I just wanted to come in and just be left alone. But no, normally I go in and I'm suspended from the rafters for about 3 hours, 25 feet in the air.
The heck are you doing? Stocking stuff?
I'm having the inventory stuff. It sucks. So.
He's making sure nobody's camping out in the Home Depot overnight.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
I mean, that'd be one place to do it. Climb up into the shelves and be gone.
We had a fire hydrant bust out back. Don't know where that water comes from, or because there's a reservoir right behind the store. And let's just say there's not too much fun stuff in that water. And we had a fire hydrant bust, so it was almost flooding the back of the store. So that was nice.
So were you out there cranking on it to shut it off? You had to call the fire department. How'd that process go?
It's almost like that's fun. It's almost like somebody just screwed the cap off on it, but to get it off, I mean, you'd have to get some sort of pipe wrench to get that off and have some sort of force.
Definitely one of your coworkers.
Yeah.
Trying to get out of their shift that night. They're like, we're going to flood this sucker and we're out of here.
So I there's a homeless camp back there too. So I don't know what's going on back there.
Yeah.
So but 3 o'clock in the morning, they don't respond really fast, especially to fire hydrants. They just don't care. And then 2 weeks ago, we had a main pipe just bust right out in front of the exit door. So nobody could walk out the door, because they came to winterize our pipes, and they did such a great job that one just exploded all over the concrete. So, yeah, that was nice. But, they took, probably an hour and a half to get there. So, I don't know.
At least you had some excitement to keep you awake through the night.
Oh, yeah, you're telling me.
Now that you're back working normal hours, it's going to be boring. There's not going to be anybody to fight off the fire hydrant. No pipes are going to explode. And you'll be able to watch the Super Bowl. You won't be at work. Fingers crossed. Hopefully not.
I'll be at work, unfortunately.
What? Making you work on Super Bowl Sunday? That's a crime. Home Depot should be closed.
Well, there's nobody going to be there anyway, so I might as well just watch the Super Bowl anyways.
That's what I say. You just tune in. You just find you one of those spots up in the rafters like you were talking about earlier and just hang out there.
It's like there's that, I don't know, it's from some movie, and I go back to it all the time, where the guy gets in this contraption and dude lifts him up into the shelves.
It's from The Office. They do it in The Office. Yeah.
That's so funny. They get in there and they're just up there playing cards. That is so funny. That's that is so true.
It's when Jim and Pam, I think, first have their baby or something and they need to sleep, they go to the warehouse and they get on the scissor lift and they lift them up and they crawl into the stocking shelves and hang out right there for a little bit. Apparently it is a movie. Neil's tuning in for everything.
Yeah,
Surprise.
there it is.
NASCAR Neil's going to be on at the tail end of the show to give your NASCAR preview, but Employees of the Month is what the movie's called that you're talking about, Jacob. But Wade, Tyler, eventful weekend. Anything going on? Wade, get settled in the new house. You
I'm
got a studio
also
now.
frequenting Home Depot, Jacob. You guys sent me a welcome to your new house coupon, which was very generous. Unfortunately, it came a week after I dropped $500 on a lawnmower, so that would have been a good time to use it. But I'm sure there'll always be something that needs
Oh yeah.
toyed with. Just getting settled in. Nothing big sports wise for me. I am excited for baseball season coming up. As I'm driving home now on my new commute, I pass by the box, and they're always over there hitting or scrimmaging. So definitely feels like spring is on the horizon, and I'm excited for that.
Hey, the groundhog didn't see his shadow, so spring is here.
Thank the Lord.
How do you say his first name?
Punxsutawney Phil.
Punxsutawney Phil. You know, he's got a 39% clip of him being correct. And I saw something on Twitter, and I
it's a pretty bad success rate there.
Well,
Caitlin be good
Clark,
for baseball.
Baseball terms, no.
I was about to say, Caitlin Clark shoots 39% from the 3-point line, and they're calling her the GOAT of women's basketball. So depends on how you look at it.
Pistol Pete's scoring record too.
Yeah, she needs a couple more games. I think they said by the end of February she should have eclipsed the all-time scoring record. So
I don't know. For the women's scoring record, I mean, she probably has 2 games left to do it. I mean, she's 60 points?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the women's record, yeah.
She scores 40 a game.
Right? Now, Pistol Pete did it without the 3-pointer. Caitlin Clark is an elite 3-point shooter.
Doing it from half court, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, pulled up from the logo. But we don't like Caitlin Clark on the show. Jacob might, but LSU fans here. The Big Ten up there, he loves it.
Oh, no.
Hey, we're all one now.
She's kind of a flopper, in my opinion. I don't know.
Well, we discussed it at length a couple weeks ago when the fan ran into her. We all said flop. What do you think, Jacob?
That's a definite flop. And then she apparently got hit the other night in the Maryland game. What was that, last night? Or no, night before that? I don't know.
Yeah, I think.
And you know, she kind of she inbounded the ball and then just kind of crouched over and stuff, and they stopped the game and everything. I'm like, and then she went to the bench for a minute and a half and came back and was fine, running up and down the court. I'm like, if you got the wind knocked out, it was going to take a little longer than a minute and a half to get your breath back and be able to run up and down the court. So I don't know. She's kind of I don't know. She's like the Steph Curry of women's basketball in the sense of likes the attention type thing. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just in terms of me watching basketball as a kid, I never grew up around guys that got a lot of notoriety, especially in the NBA or anything like that. So I don't know. I see it come off as cocky and a little bit of annoying, especially when you have a team with 10 more people. I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying there. Like I said on the show a couple weeks ago when we talked about the flop, it would have been great if the fan that ran into her hit her with the "you can't see me" as they knocked her over, just kept going because clearly she didn't see her apparently. But
I mean, I don't want to defend Ohio State fans. I don't want
to. That's a hard thing to do.
But I kind of have to in that case. I don't know. She looks like she made a direct path, and it's well, she didn't see him. I'm thinking there was nobody in a 20-foot circumference around that one person. I was like, I don't know.
See, this is what happens when you miss the show for a couple weeks, Jacob. You would have been perfect.
We also talked about Ohio State's transfer portal auditions if you want to talk about that.
I don't want to talk about it.
Let's talk about Wade. You mentioned it a second ago. Big Ten and SEC are partnering up to address the issues on mostly the college football front, but I think this speaks for college athletics as a whole. Is this the beginning of the super conference as we know it, that eventually they'll just merge into one? Or is this just kind of holding the NCAA accountable? Because at what point can the schools just say no to the NCAA? Like the whole Tennessee thing with the allegations that they brought forward. Tennessee is counter-suing them to finally say, look, this doesn't make any sense. You can't come in at the 11th hour and be like, oh, what you did is illegal when it's legal in our state. So have y'all seen anything on this new committee that's forming? I saw the headline, but I don't know anything else about it.
I think it's the start of a new alliance, like a new Power 5, if you will, because now we're down to the Power 4. So I think eventually you're going to have like, I don't know, like it's already kind of an unspoken thing, but you're only going to see teams from like the top 50, programs make the playoff and be eligible for championships. Right now, they do take one of the Power 6 or Group of 6 schools into consideration, but I think we could see that tweak to where there's like, this top 50 kind of echelon of college football, and that's what the college football playoff will be. And then I think you'll see like a Group of 5 tournament in a sense, and then you'll still have your FCS and your Division 2, Division 3. So I think it's the start of that, and I think that it would be mainly all the current members of the Big Ten and the SEC, and then I think you would see maybe a few of the elite ACC members, and then some of the Big 12 members kind of make that jump up, so that you would have about 40 to 50 teams total.
Well, I think if you combine like a Big Ten and SEC, some of these bottom feeding teams are going to be kicked out. Like Vanderbilt, they're not going to be
just riding the coattails.
Or like we're talking a Rutgers from the Big Ten, like somebody like that's not.
Oh yeah, if the Big Ten could turn
right?
them back in and get like Clemson or Florida State or something, they would totally do it.
I think for right now, this is mostly just like they call the NCAA on their bullshit, really, because of like what they're doing and all these. You had the Florida State issue with their booster, like, or their coach delivering, like, driving the recruit to the booster. Yeah, this Tennessee stuff is all perfectly legal. Like the collective is paying whatever his name is, Amaliva. I don't know how you say his last name, but their quarterback, their new starting quarterback, rumors of $8 million for him to go there, which is absurd.
Never even played for them.
You're paying a high school recruit $8 million. Like, here you go. We just hope you don't transfer next year when you don't play good or Tennessee sucks or something like that. And of course they're saying, oh, y'all screwed up. This is wrong, but it's like it's not really wrong because there's no rules. So I think it's more just like a committee to check the NCAA and eventually probably break away and have their own playoffs and their own rules and relegations to where they don't need the NCAA anymore. But Tyler, maybe this is where our theory from a couple weeks ago of Nick Saban being the college football commissioner comes into play. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe so. Speaking of Nick Saban, Buffalo back James Cook had something to say about that. He's saying that maybe the playoff committee knew about Nick Saban retiring. That's why Alabama got in. He's a Georgia alum, and so he was talking very highly that Georgia would have won it all if the Bulldogs. But my thing is, you got to beat them on the field. I mean, I'm gonna like beat the table all that you want that Florida State should have been in the playoff, but I just don't think that would matter. I mean, looks like Michigan would have won it all no matter what it was. I think that Texas and Washington gave us a good game, but I definitely think Nick Saban being the commissioner is never going to happen. I just think that these conferences are just going to do whatever the hell that they want because that's what they've been doing pretty much the entirety of it. The NCAA really has no power. They got a bunch of idiots like running it anyways. So I think that the Big Ten and the SEC are going to start leading the way. I think that in football in general, they're going to be the power two conferences. That's probably where you're going to see most of the teams get into the 12-team playoff. And then pretty much everybody else is going to be riding the coattails. So I think that the Big Ten and the SEC, this is like their first step of becoming like the power two conferences in college sports and college athletics.
So the current president of the NCAA is Charlie Baker, who was the former governor of Massachusetts. Huh.
No comment.
Yeah. Does he have any ties to like a football, like a school, or
look at the playoff committee? Like
try to go away from like athletics.
Dudes like in the Army and D2 athletic directors, like we're just picking these people off the streets, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. But yeah, it's say what you want to say. Will anything happen? Who knows? I think schools are eventually just going to stop listening to them and possibly form their own.
It could be a non-sanctioned NCAA championship. Like you could have the scholarships come from the schools and money that they get from this alliance. And it could be that like the top 50 college football teams don't play in the NCAA. It could be like just, I don't know, something independent. This could be the start of breaking away. So,
yeah, but if you break away, or your national championship's going to have like a little asterisk next to it, like
not
non-NCAA. But at
necessarily.
that
Like,
point, who cares if you're
look at
playing the
like
best team?
a sport that maybe the NCAA doesn't offer, like, you know, like
Badminton.
Yeah, like if the men's badminton team at Alabama is the best men's badminton team, nobody's going to say they didn't win the national championship. Like, they won the top tier competition at their sport. That would be what this is.
That's true. More to come on that, I'm sure, as the offseason unfolds. But what we do have is sports happening right now, and that's Super Bowl. Super Bowl is a week away from today. Exactly 1 week from now, we'll probably be at halftime. Or actually, the game will probably almost be over.
Oh,
About
we'll be
8:30.
lucky to be at halftime of all the commercials that'll be spamming at us.
That's true. That's true. Maybe we'll get some good ones this year. I'm excited, particularly for the Arnold Schwarzenegger State Farm commercial that they've been teasing, and what's happening to Jake, what's happening to Mahomes and Kelsey. Who knows?
I'm excited for the avocados from Mexico. They always bring it every year.
They were killing it earlier this year. I like their current campaign.
Will we get an EA Sports NCAA college
Yeah,
football
right.
commercial?
Will
we get a Rob Gronkowski made field goal?
Oh yeah, what's going on with that? I saw something about that on Twitter.
I think you can like match a bet that if he makes the field goal, you're entered into some sweepstakes for like $1 million or something.
Split 1 million ways.
Yeah.
Well, how long is the field goal?
He missed it last year, but it's like 30 yards.
He's gonna miss it again. His foot's too big. His foot's bigger than the football. like I mean, come on.
So Chiefs 49ers played back in 2019. Wade, what was the final score of that game?
31-21.
As you called it. Let's go Super Bowl 58 picks. Who are we feeling here? Jacob, you haven't been on for a while. What do you think?
You know what? I think, 2024, call me crazy, but I think that the right prevails in this one. I'm going to go with the Niners.
Okay.
I believe in the system. The Shanahan system works. So I think the bright lights and everything, as far as the stars of the Chiefs, I mean, they have to step up in order for them to win. In my eyes, the Niners have so many weapons offensively. I mean, out of the backfield, you still have your Debos and your other that are still there. And Brock Purdy's a system quarterback. Brady was a system quarterback for over 20 years, and you saw what happened. It worked.
He can't hit a golf ball, but he can throw a football.
Exactly. Yeah, God. But Purdy's in the same situation that Brady was in, years ago in that situation. I mean, this is the same thing. When Brady played the Rams in the Super Bowl in 2003, they were they gave him no chance, especially against a Rams team who was really good at the time. And now they're not really giving him any chance because of Mahomes and Kelsey. In my opinion, I just don't think that the Niners are going to be able to be stopped. On the ground, they're too strong. Christian McCaffrey was the biggest pickup they've ever had in franchise history. I mean, that is giant. So, I mean, we're looking down the barrel of a really good one, but I think the Niners can pull it off.
Okay. So I'm in the opposite direction because I am fully on the Chiefs bandwagon, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce love story. I'm here for it, and I want to see a Super Bowl victory for the Chiefs. I want to see Kelce drop down on a knee, propose to Taylor, and then he announces his retirement, and they ride off into the sunset. I mean, she's wearing a white dress at the Grammys tonight. I saw that on Twitter just now. I mean, it's destiny, right? This is the team of destiny. Look, Taylor Swift's all over my iPad right now for ads. Not even talking about the Super Bowl. It's just her face. Uh, I think it's Patrick Mahomes. He's an underdog. I think the 49ers, the line's at 2.5 right now. The last I saw it. So it's tough, man. It's tough to beat that guy. He's going for a back-to-back. I don't remember the last time a team won back-to-back Super Bowls. I think
The
it was Brady.
Patriots.
Yeah, Brady and the Patriots.
03,
back in the day.
04.
Yeah, so it's been 20 years since it happened. 20 years exactly. So 20-year anniversary of the back-to-back. Let's see if they can get it done. But my pick, I'm doubling down with Wade on a 31-21 Chiefs victory over the 49ers. Wade, what do you think about that?
All right. I think I'm going to do an on-the-air flip here. I'm going to take the 49ers in this one. Ooh, 24-23. A one-point victory.
Oh, little Lions and
game-winning field goal, maybe.
No,
Is that what you're thinking?
okay.
Or
That's possible. Could be a 23-21. Niners go down the field and kick the game-winning field goal. I'm thinking, I don't know if I like that score. I'm going with the Niners, but I don't know if I like that score. But I just feel like the 49ers, like Jacob said, have been the more consistent team all year. I trust the offensive weapons. Let's be real. If Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce can't get together on some big-time plays, they don't have a lot of weapons on the outside. You're asking a lot out of a rookie in Rashee Rice. I think it just kind of comes back and catches up to them. The Eagles played a damn good game last year in the Super Bowl, but the Chiefs had a much better offense, and they were able to pace with them and ultimately scored a lot of points in that game, but I think they get held in check a little bit more in this one. I haven't been impressed with the 49ers in the playoffs, but they seem to be just kind of that team of destiny. They're getting lucky, as are the Chiefs, but I think the 49ers eke it out in a close one.
Okay. Before we get to you, Tyler.
Maybe 24-20 is what I'm thinking.
I
think Mahomes has the ball and has to get a touchdown, and they can't kick the field goal, and he comes up a little short.
It's a Kadarius Toney drop in the end zone.
Yeah, like he has a fourth down bomb to like Toney, and he drops it like 50.
He's wide open.
Did you print out the script, Wade? Can we see the script?
Hey, well,
so
last time it was a little crazy because I think if I'm right, the 49ers did not score 3 touchdowns in that 31-21 game. They kicked the field goal at some point and they went for 2 or got a safety or something. And I remember like my score prediction was wrong, but then they went for 2 late in the game and it was back to being right. It was a whole thing, but crazy things can happen. But yeah, I feel like the sports gods are telling me 24-20 49ers.
Okay. I could see a Toney drop because they weren't going to start him.
If he even plays in
and Taylor Swift beats the shit out of him until he dies. I'm just thinking.
The Swifties go after him.
Yeah,
he would never go back. He would never go back to Kansas City. Like
Patrick Mahomes' dad beats him.
Yeah. Well, he was
Jackson
listed as inactive. He's listed as inactive for the AFC Championship, and he went on IG Live talking about how he's healthy, he can play. And then all of a sudden they said, he practiced yesterday. He's active for the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. That's going to bite him in the ass. I mean, I think he's going to have a pivotal drop. Or
he had a good Super Bowl last year. He scored.
Yeah, he might prove us all
Odell
wrong.
Catches it, wins it.
Yeah. But we'll see. Tyler, before you go, if you're watching, let us know in the comments. Super Bowl, who's going to win, which score, and we'll read them off. Tyler, what do you got for us?
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a great matchup. I've been picking against the Chiefs. It feels like this whole entire playoffs, and every round they've been biting me in the butt. No, I'm not going to pick the team that defeat my beloved Detroit Lions. So I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. Chad, like you mentioned, there's some T Swift conspiracy theories. I heard it on the radio again. The game's on February 11th. 2 + 11 is 13. And then Super Bowl 58, 5 + 8 is 13.
It's real, man.
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. Obviously, go with the over because I'm gonna go 34-30 that the Chiefs win and they go back to back.
Another little bit of knowledge for you as Jacob blows into our ears through the microphone. The last 8 Super Bowls, the team that has had to travel the farthest wins. Chiefs are traveling the farthest. The team that has traveled west the farthest wins.
And they play in Las
Obviously.
Vegas once a year.
Well, if you think about it, if the Niners do travel west, they could travel the farthest.
Fly around the world.
Exactly.
Maybe they'll do that just for this. Maybe they'll just take off around the world.
I keep seeing that full moon garbage with the Chiefs, and like they never lose when it's a full moon, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But I don't know. It just seems like it's all a gimmick. It really is. But I think it's setting up for the Chiefs. Like they have to meet expectations. I mean, if they're going to be the favorite and all this stuff around them,
2.5 point
underdog.
I'm just looking at the past games that both teams have played. I'm looking throughout the season. I think by far the Niners played the tougher schedule all year long than Kansas City did. It's just, I mean, I can't get past the fact that Kansas City got beat by Denver somehow this year, and Denver went on a run after that, and it was, I mean, I don't think they're safe next year if they don't make any changes, but that's an off-season thing. But as far as the playoffs go, I just think the Chiefs played the Ravens. The Ravens played like dog water, and because they became one-dimensional. Yeah, one-dimensional. Lamar Jackson's going to win the game. Lamar Jackson did not win the game.
He just didn't run. You saw the clip of Odell being like, "Dude, when you got to take over because you changed the game." Right. Which I like seeing that from Odell. I think he knows his peak, his prime is gone. Right, he's tail end of his career, and now he's trying to coach up guys like Lamar. And for whatever reason, Lamar just didn't play like himself.
I mean, for the Niners to go and beat arguably two of the best teams, that are playing right. I mean, you go and beat, a really good Detroit Lions team. That was crazy.
I'm more excited if the Lions
were down 17.
I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I don't see how the Chiefs, if they're in that situation, I mean, Kansas City's not coming back from that. They just don't move the ball fast enough. And for them to win the game, they have to control the time of possession. And I'm sure Shanahan's probably telling Purdy, just protect the ball regardless of the situation. D-line against D-line, the Niners win that all day long, I think. Front seven for the Niners, I think, is a lot better than the front seven for Kansas City. I mean, they're just young, defensively speaking. Give up a lot of points this year, so I don't think it's going to be that high scoring. Actually, I know Tyler mentioned the over. I mean,
you go the other way.
I don't see
42.5
points happening. I mean, that's crazy.
Is it 64 now?
Well, you picked 34-30.
Why not?
I think the over under is set at 42.5.
So I got it going slightly over.
Let me verify this here. It is set at 47.5. 47.5, and the Lions.
I'm talking like 20. I'm talking like 24-17 type game. I don't see Kansas City putting up, anything into the 20s against the Niners. I don't see that. I mean, ostensibly the Niners playing at home for the most part. I mean, as far as that goes, I know travel doesn't mean anything. I know travel doesn't mean anything anymore and all that, but I just don't see that many points being put up by either team.
Good point. So we got Chew coming in, 49ers by 17. Happy anniversary, Chew. 2-year anniversary to Matt and Mallard. Congratulations. We love you. We're proud of you. And he thinks the 49ers are going to win by 17. Neil wants the 49ers, but he thinks the Chiefs will pull it out in some crazy way.
He thinks Tony catches that pass.
Yeah. I got some fun prop bets for y'all. Let's get to these real quick. A national anthem length. It's Reba McEntire who is singing the national anthem. Over under 90.5 seconds, 90.5. She has a history of singing the national anthem pretty fast. So, what are y'all thinking here? Last time she performed the song, she sang it 65 seconds.
Oh, under.
Got to go under. Hammer
There's
the
no
under.
chance.
I know
It's
she's
the
8,
lowest.
but I'm gonna go under.
The lowest national anthem total ever listed for a Super Bowl. The longest she's ever performed it is 85 seconds. So
Then
I
it's set
probably
at
should've
what,
told y'all that.
90
He
something?
I
sees
probably
this
should've
and can
told y'all that.
completely screw people. Like,
This is
knows
something I
he's
wouldn't
not.
bet on because I can't win anyway.
94 seconds.
Yeah. So you know,
91 seconds.
give me the over. I think she's gonna get caught up in the Super Bowl, and she probably knows in the back of her mind that's what the time is, and she's gonna screw a lot of people out of a lot of money. So I'm gonna take the
she's
over.
going to add a verse.
I don't think so.
She thinks she's performing the national anthem, and then they bring down
It's Taylor Swift
from the Sweden.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Coin toss, heads or tails. It's 50-50 here. What are we thinking?
Tails never fails.
No, it's
I like
heads.
tails.
Tails.
Jacob's
It's
got
heads.
heads.
All
right.
day
we got-
long.
Okay.
Split.
Gatorade color at the end. The
Red.
current odds-on favorite
Red.
is purple.
It fits with the
So this
conspiracy.
Purple? Are you kidding me?
At plus 330, purple. I don't know when this article was written.
I feel like this one's logical, though. If you feel like the Chiefs are going to win, you just go back and look at the photos from last year. They're obviously going to repeat what they had last year.
Red.
Red.
You got the same star players.
I'm going with the conspiracy. Red.
So
Chiefs
if you
win.
feel like the
Red or
Chiefs are going to
orange.
win, I think you go with what they drank last year.
I
Either
think it's
red or
red.
orange. I just want it to be green one time. Just one time. That's
They're
all.
not
It,
gonna
it
switch
never is.
Oh,
The Jets have to get there for it to be
did
green.
y'all see, or the Eagles?
No, that's
Did
true.
y'all see the? I might have sent it to you. It was this guy DM Patrick Mahomes acting like he's like, my son has a school project on like Super Bowl traditions. Could you let me know what color the Gatorade's gonna be so he can put it on his school project? It was like, we know what you're doing here, guy. You're not fooling anybody. You're trying to get the inside information to place the bet. All right, so I think we're all on a consensus red here. Jacob said orange.
No, I said it's either red or orange. I don't know.
I think it's red. It works for both teams, really. But I'm with Tyler with Taylor Swift, red 13.
Oh my god.
Oh,
All right, let's move on. Let's move on.
The red jerseys.
They are wearing red.
Ooh, first team to call a timeout.
Kansas City.
Yeah, Andy Reid's gonna
The
call
Niners.
like, in
The
first
Niners
5
don't call
minutes.
timeouts.
Like, yeah, hold up.
And the exact score. 31-20, Wade, which isn't what you the 31-21, but 31-20 is plus 30,000 right now. So you might be cooking on something there. See if I got anything else. Here's color odds. I bet you this one's up to date. Yeah, it was updated today. Purple plus 225. That's the highest right now.
That
Red
must be
is
what
at
they drank last year.
1, 2, 3. Red is the 5th at 350. You can bet no Gatorade or water at plus 1600.
Jesus.
Sham. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't know what we got.
What's
there.
orange?
Orange is plus 300. And yellow/green is in second place at also plus 300.
That is all ass backwards. Like that entire thing is backwards.
Well, should we just hammer red?
Yes.
No, I'm not betting on shit.
It's gonna be clear Gatorade. It's gonna be that white Gatorade. Oh my god.
Especially a freaking Gatorade color.
Other NFL news besides Super Bowl, we had the Pro Bowl wrap up today where the NFC won again. They got blown out in the flag football matchup.
The only thing to take away is
that's a
that Dan
joke.
Orlovsky did better than any quarterback in the precision passing.
That's
pretty
true.
dang sad.
Yeah.
That's actually the opposite of what he did when he was actually playing in the NFL. He was
practicing.
terrible.
He was doing the let's get a safety challenge.
Yeah. That was going to be a hidden gem, Tyler, but since you mentioned it, let's go ahead and get to the hidden gems. New segments where we find something new. Jacob, I don't know if you're familiar with this. Find something that was hidden.
He's like, no, I do not.
Sports news, sports headline from this week, last week, that maybe didn't make mainstream media. I'll start it off to show you my example. I've also got one in the bag if you don't have one. Mine is going to be the enhanced games. I sent this to y'all on Twitter. Billionaire Peter Thiel is bankrolling Olympics on steroids that allows the athletes to be on steroids and compete in Olympic Games. He's the co-founder of PayPal with Tyler, who's the other co-founder of PayPal.
I have no
I
idea.
told you. I told you before the show. Elon Musk.
Sorry, I was looking at my hidden gem.
That's someone I didn't expect to see as the co-founder of PayPal, Elon Musk. But he says that he doesn't feel that athletes should be held back by steroids. So he is going to he's providing more details in April. And will be promoting it during the Summer Olympics, his event, Olympics on steroids, the enhanced games. So that should be very interesting. That's all I gotta say.
Oh my god!
Talk about the Olympic Village. It's already rampant with people all ready to round to go.
Amped up.
Imagine
Here comes
all
Barry
these-
Bonds waiting for his moment for all these years.
Imagine these people on. They're probably. Hey, check out this steroid we got over in Russia that allows you to do X, Y, Z. Well, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Jab right in the arm. Hey, you're looking nice. We all know what happens in the Olympic Village. It's no secret, okay?
Oh yeah, the Russians did that back in 2016.
But imagine what it's gonna be like when every athlete is doped up. The promotional for the whole Olympic Games and why they're doing this is I don't know who the runner is. I don't see his name. But it's a guy who apparently is the fastest man in the world. He broke what's the guy's name? Usain Bolt's record, but he's on steroids. And it says, I am the fastest man in the world, but you've never heard of me because I use steroids. Well, yeah. I mean, there's a reason.
That's like saying
why.
I can bench 1,000 pounds because I have robotic arms. Like I'm the strongest man in the world.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna watch it because I bet you it's gonna be super entertaining.
Oh my god, there's no way.
But look out for that in the future. Tyler, what do you got for us on Hidden
Well,
Gem?
that's hard to top. But like you mentioned, it's about to be baseball season. Pitcher and catchers are reporting, and this one player is already starting to fuel to the fire for a lot of these teams, and it's only February. One of these teams just got Shohei Ohtani, and Mr. Mookie Betts got interviewed this past week, and he said that every game is going to be the other team's World Series. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. He's
My freaking ass, it's not. You haven't even made it back to the World Series.
Yeah, it's going to be fun when they get eliminated by the Diamondbacks.
All right. Wade, what do you got?
All right. Mine is less of a story, more of a game. Just kind of had it on yesterday for background noise, but the Baylor and Iowa State men's basketball game, Tyler told us to keep an eye on the Big 12 in basketball, and I got to say I'm a fan after watching last night. Baylor was winning most of the game, but then their coach picked up a second technical foul because he let an F-bomb slip right at a referee, and that got him ejected. Iowa State got 2 shots in the ball, and all of a sudden they just went on a run, and it looked like Iowa State was going to run away with it. Well, then Baylor had some heroics, hit a free throw with 1 second left or 2 seconds left to take the lead. And then somehow Baylor ended up on the free throw line. I don't remember what Iowa State did. They had like a turnover on the inbound or something. But Baylor made the free throw, but there was a lane violation or something that gave them 1 second inbound play for Iowa State. And they drew up a beautiful play. They got the pass in, and they were able to kick it out for a 3 from pretty much the logo. And the freshman made it. Cleaned it off the backboard. It went in. It was called an Iowa State win, but then they reviewed it, and they said he let go 1 millisecond too late, and they called it off, and Baylor won. So just a lot of emotion in that game.
Big Pro, man. I mean, that's a conference like somebody in that conference is going to win it all this year.
There's just so many things that went wrong or favorable depending on where you're looking at it from, but like just a lot of weird technicalities, and the coach getting tossed, and just gut-wrenching to make a game-winning shot on the road, and you feel like you're the man, and then you just have to sit there with like 20,000 fans who are all watching the same replay as you, and you just know you didn't get it off in time. But anyways, it was a good game, and this is about the time of the year where I tune into college basketball, so I can get my bracket going, but definitely a good start.
Yeah, you got to start watching those Arkansas Razorbacks. You never know what headlines.
That is another hidden gem, but that one can be read at your own time.
Yes. Don't wear it up. Don't read it at work. But look up that one. Arkansas men's basketball team. Jacob, do you have one for us?
I do. I'm going to throw it over to college hockey because nobody talks about it very much.
That's hidden.
College hockey. Very hidden.
It's a very hidden thing, you know. But it's kind of a two-part thing. But first thing is the growth of college hockey. Holy crap! I never thought in a million years I would see Alabama, Georgia, and all these other considering they're calling them club hockey teams. But they got some units on those teams. Like it's
Probably
actually
just,
real.
Some of the football players trying to stay in shape.
Backup tight ends.
Hockey. Yeah.
They can't skate. Could you imagine those guys on skates? Oh my god. I can just picture somebody like Fletcher Cox on skates. Like
murder somebody. Absolutely murder somebody.
You're making some serious cuts on that ice.
Wouldn't want to drop the glove to him. That's all I got.
But no, college hockey is growing like crazy. And I think before long, I mean, there's a lot of talks about it behind the scenes about Division I hockey coming to the Southeastern Conference, expanding. The ACC was a part of it. Now they're thinking about bringing it all back, talking about, having it be a big sport again, especially with the realignments of the different conferences. USC, UCLA got teams. They're trying to play against Arizona State. Arizona State's one of the best teams in the country. Of course, teams up north are the best teams in the country.
Right.
I watched last weekend. Wow. Last weekend, number 1 and 2 teams in college hockey is Boston University and Boston College. They're about 15 to 20 miles away from each other, and it is an all-out slugfest in the war. But this is where it gets interesting. Apparently, the number 4 NHL prospect who was drafted by the San Jose Sharks actually it ties into the All-Star game and everything, but actually DM'd Tate McRae to get her free tickets to come and like watch him play at Boston College. So this guy's like shooting his shot.
Yeah,
for Tate McRae. It is absolutely hilarious. And he's like, I don't think she responded, or he didn't reveal like whether she responded or not or anything. So like everybody's like waiting for her to show up to a BC game, and it's everybody's like on the edge of their seat with it. But she's a big hockey like fanatic and everything. And credit to Justin Bieber getting out on the ice in full pads and skates and everything and skating with the All-Stars. That's pretty sick.
Speaking of Tate McRae, if I can remember his name, Cam Thomas, former LSU basketball player. Tate McRae showed up to his basketball game and he dropped like 60 immediately. Saw her and just went off. So maybe this guy, maybe this guy knows what he's doing here. I've got one last hidden gem that'll tie into our college baseball discussion that we're about to get into. Y'all all remember the LSU Alabama game last year where right for the game, Alabama's pitcher was a scratch, and all of a sudden there was $100,000 bet that was trying to be placed in Cincinnati. Now he is transferred to LSU to pitch for us, but
full circle.
Yeah, so and then it comes out Brad Bohannon, who's Alabama's coach, told this individual person to, bet LSU. I benched a player, blah, blah, blah. Well, the punishments have rolled out this week. He's got to pay a fine. He's got probation. He's got a 15-year show cause order, which basically means if any team hires him, he cannot coach until those 15 years are up. So you can hire him at year 5, and he still can't coach for another 10 years. So he's pretty much done. He's pack it up, buddy. You got to find a new gig. You're not coaching anymore in college baseball at that point. So the hidden gem is the actual text that he sent this guy. His name is Bert Neff. He attempted to place a $100,000 wager on an Alabama game inside of the Cincinnati Great American Ballpark. When the betting attendant said, "Sir, we cannot take that much money," because they probably haven't seen $6,000 or probably haven't seen. It said you could do 15 grand. Okay, that's what we're giving you, because they probably haven't seen $15,000 in the history of this ballpark bet on college baseball, which is not a very big,
It's
betting
like
sport.
1,000 miles away from the game too.
Exactly. So the guy, the cashier, is doing his job, right? He's like, this is a little suspicious. The guy says, "Okay, I'll take my 15, but I want to make multiple bets because if you knew what I knew, you would be betting LSU." It's like, okay. He doesn't stop there. Bert Neff says, "Look at this." Shows his phone to the cashier, and it's Bohannon texting him. It's Luke Holman, right? What's his name, Tyler?
Yeah.
Luke Holman. Holman's out. Hammer LSU. And he's like, "Dude, did you really just show me that? Like, what?" He then takes off out of the ballpark. Says in court that he destroyed his phone by throwing it in the river, bought a burner phone, and then texted all of his compadres, "Bet LSU." This is all happening before first pitch, like in a matter of like 5 minutes. It's not like back in the day where you could chunk your phone in the river and text messages are gone, buddy. Your phone's backed up to the cloud. That's an iPhone. You're hosed. So they read all this stuff in court. Mr. Neff is actually not really getting that bad of a deal. Oh, I take that back. He faces up to 10 years in prison, but he'll probably just be on probation. And with a max fine of $250,000, which if he's trying to hammer 100 grand on a college baseball game, I have a feeling that 250 grand is probably not that big a deal to him. But yeah.
But I think part of it was the money was from Bohannon.
You think? It definitely isn't the first
matching
time
the
they've
bet.
done it.
He was like, "Go place this bet for me. Let's split it. I know something you don't know."
Yeah. So just a little headline there. That's kind of reached full circle. But if you're gonna be the head coach of a baseball team and try to tank the game for your own side, use some code or something, man. That's a little too obvious. So I mentioned baseball. We're gonna get into an LSU 2024 baseball preview. Tyler, I'm gonna let you take it away for the team. What do you expect this year? What do you obviously with national championship last year, the three of us went to, or four of us actually. Jacob, you joined us for a game, the Kentucky game where Paul Skeens pitched the brakes off of this team.
Could have left after the first inning.
Yeah. what was it? We scored like 9 in the first inning.
Pretty much.
I think it was 15-3 after like the second or third inning?
Yes.
Yeah.
We run ruled them. I believe it was over after 7.
Mm-hmm.
The Tigers open their season on February 16th, so about 2 weeks from now against VMI. What is VMI, Tyler?
Virginia
Military Institute.
Okay, I didn't know that. The more you know. But the SEC is loaded this
I
year.
grew up on SoCon baseball, man. Charleston. College of Charleston played VMI every year. It was a rivalry. Citadel played them. So.
Like I said, the SEC is absolutely loaded this year. We got a gauntlet of a schedule. So, Tyler, give us a little quick rundown on the baseball team and what you expect from this season.
Yeah, it's an absolutely loaded schedule, like you mentioned. The SEC, it's got 6 teams in the top 10, so it's going to be a loaded conference. Like you mentioned, LSU coming off a national championship, which that usually means that's going to be a lot of turnover. You lost a lot of offensive firepower. Like I mentioned last week, Dylan Cruz is gone, Trey Morgan, Gavin Dugas, Kate Beloso, the list goes on and on. But you're returning back some guys. Tommy White's coming back for his junior season. He's fully
healthy.
Yeah, he's fully healthy. So we'll see. He brought a lot of firepower. He wasn't even close to 100% last year. So we'll see how he is 100%. The pitching staff, you did lose Paul Skeens last year, but it's starting to really sound like this is going to be a real deep pitching staff. Thatcher Hurd is probably going to be your main guy, like you mentioned, Luke Holman. You got him transfer from Alabama. You got a transfer from Xavier, Justin Lohr. You got a transfer from UCLA with Gage Jump. So you did tap into the transfer portal. Also, you got a new back too with Bingham from Arizona. Bringing him a little firepower. Then you brought some SEC veteran play. You lost Jordan Thompson. Needed a new shortstop, so you got Michael Braswell. He's been playing really well. Jay Johnson said that he's been the best hitter in fall ball. We'll see how that, really plays out throughout the season. So this is going to be, some offense that's going to have some question marks. You're moving some guys around. Jared Jones will be at that first base. That's going to be a drop off for sure. You had like pretty much the best defensive first baseman in LSU history with Trey Morgan, and then you have Jared Jones. I think that Jared Jones doesn't have that athleticism as Trey Morgan has, but he definitely has the range. At the catcher position, you're absolutely loaded. You have 3 quality guys that got some reps. Brady Neal, last year he was pretty much your guy through the first couple of weeks of the season. He got hurt after the Arkansas series, and it was pretty much a 50-50 split between Hayden Travinski and Alex Milazzo. So you'll probably see Hayden Travinski. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the main DH. You'll see Brady Neal and Milazzo switch out too. So this is going to be a team that's going to have some question marks, but I think that this is going to be a team that's going to be right back in Omaha potentially.
Oh, I mean, repeating back to back, that's tough. But I would expect them to probably make a run at Omaha this year. You mentioned Michael Braswell. That was when he transferred in. A big concern was his bat. We wanted to get a veteran guy to kind of run that shortstop spot. And like you said, Jay Johnson is very high on him. That's definitely something you expect coming into Jay's offense, to coach him up like that. And then second base, Josh Pearson's moving from left field to second base, which a lot of people don't know. He was recruited to play infield, and stepped up as a freshman and went to outfield because that's what the team needed him. So that'll be interesting to see how he makes that adjustment. The Brady Neal, Alex Milazzo, I think those are your 2 catchers. I would probably expect to see Milazzo a little more at the beginning of the season, and maybe an even split as we go through. But the pitching staff, yes, we lost Paul Skeens, yes, we lost Riley Cooper, but with Gage Jump, Luke Holman, and you bring in this freshman Cam Johnson, who apparently is just like pumping straight gas off the pitching mound. That's going to be I could see him in some like relief situations, high leverage. Need a guy to go in there, get a couple outs, and really see what you're working with him. But Thatcher Hurd isn't getting a lot of attention around the country. Wade, we were very critical of him at the beginning of the season. Didn't start off hot, but he really turned it around at Omaha. What are you expecting from Thatcher? Does he pick off where he left off? Do you think he's the Friday night guy?
Yeah, I think he gets the first crack at it. I wouldn't be surprised if Holman and him switch at some point. Just kind of depends on how he adjusts to playing in Baton Rouge. I mean, Thatcher Hurd was kind of like Holman of last year. He was the big recruit, and he didn't really hit his maximum potential till the end of the season, but that was okay. And that's when they needed it. So I think it would be one of those 2 guys. I think that one of the freshmen, like Jump or it's Johnson, right? Or Mitch?
Yeah, Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson. One of them could step up and snag a rotation spot as well. But I think that, like last year, I think you're going into the season with 4 quality weekend pitching candidates. Inevitably, one might not pan out, one might step up. I can't remember the guy's name, but we did get the transfer from Xavier. He has starting experience as well. Maybe more of our Tuesday night guy, but he could always be the Sunday guy too. So exactly. I think that Hurd gets the first crack, but Johnson's not going to be afraid to move guys around if he's not getting results.
Oh, and we've got the new pitching coach, Yeski from Arizona, who coached with Johnson. We got the pitching staff. I think obviously you're missing Paul Skeens, right? He's gone, and that was your headline guy last year. But I think this year the bullpen is what gives you the most comfort. That was kind of the struggle last year for most of the season, but this bullpen is very deep. A lot of lefties. So definitely something to look forward to. course, the four of us will try to make a game. Jacob will try to get you a game that's not a blowout. Maybe we'll get a little closer action going on.
Well, I tell you what, the game before that was the last sporting event before Rudy Gobert decided to start the COVID mess. So I went to they played South Alabama, so I went with I think Tyler was there. You were there.
Yep, I was.
Wade, you and I went to when they played Mississippi State in 2020, or it was right. It wasn't Mississippi State. It was a midweek game right before we played Mississippi State. Maybe it's the same game. Were we
That
at
was
the same game?
the New Orleans game.
Yes, the
Oh,
UNO
yeah.
game, and that's when it was announced that SEC play was canceled or whatever. We were like in the stadium. We were like, "What is this? This is nuts."
I remember it was also during basketball season, and LSU was pretty highly ranked at the time. And they announced that March Madness would be canceled shortly after we were at a game.
Yep. But a quick little preview there. Predicting back to Omaha, I think we're all kind of, as LSU fans, we all want a repeat of a national championship. But I think a success on the season is another trip to Omaha. That's what you brought Jay Johnson in. That's what you expect him to do. And we'll be checking in on him throughout the season. Jacob, your Penn State Nittany Lions, how is their baseball team looking? You know anything about them? Big Ten baseball?
Big Ten baseball is not what SEC baseball is now. I mean, it's not highly touted. I mean, the Big Ten in general, as far as baseball goes, is a secondary. I mean, it's like the reverse role of baseball and hockey. Like in the South, hockey really doesn't exist. I mean, it's growing, but it's not there yet. So they kind of flip in that aspect. But no, I honestly think that maybe for once, and they had stretches where they played well. It's a high scoring conference because it seems like nobody can pitch. It's that bad. I mean, you're not going to get guys at the MLB level, in the future, especially with the growth of college baseball, in the recruiting and the draft picks. I mean, I'm so for it now, and that's made me over the moon happy about the fact that teams are actually drafting and valuing guys that are in the United States now, and it's not, let's go to the Dominican Republic for the first 35 picks in the draft. So I'm happy in that aspect with baseball. But yeah, I just think you're going to see the future of draft picks come from the SEC for the most part. And that's just one of those things where it's just it's a bigger sport in the South than it is, in the North as far as college goes. Now, the reverse role would be once you get to the majors. I mean, a lot of the teams up north, Red Sox, Yankees, and a lot of those teams up there are the teams in baseball, that they want to go after. But at the college level, you just don't see it in the North.
You only have 2 SEC Hall of Fame baseball players, like in the MLB Hall of Fame. So
I think it's been a recent push.
That's what I'm saying. It's a recent growth. I mean, it's not,
and that's a good
not
thing
the
to
long-standing growth.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely.
And you'll see more trickle in there. But
well, with the combination of the
good.
conferences, like a UCLA going to the Big Ten, they're usually a big powerhouse. Arizona potentially, where Arizona's going.
Oh, yeah.
Where's Arizona?
Pac-12 trickling into the Big Ten. Now we'll make it a good conference.
Yeah, a lot of West Coast
teams.
teams.
Great for baseball too, honestly.
Yeah,
play all your games in March in California, and then come back to Michigan and stuff in the later part of the season.
Yep. But
you just don't get a lot of time, in the North when it comes to baseball.
That's
season.
the hard part.
It sneaks up on you. That's
time.
The problem. I mean, the guys down here can play fall ball and everything else while it's snowing sideways up north. So I mean, that's the tough part with it. Because I mean, at looking at Penn State's schedule, I mean, like their biggest game maybe potentially all year long. I don't know. They play West Virginia at some point, who's a decent, baseball team. Somehow Rutgers is a decent baseball team also. But yeah, there's just not not too much. I think Illinois was okay for a little while.
Iowa
But
was a
yeah.
tournament team last year.
Yeah, like they're not even playing Iowa this year. They play at Stanford. They have a 3-game stretch right at the open of the season at Stanford.
That's the toughest series right there.
That's probably the toughest series that they're going to face. But yeah, I mean it's different. You don't play the teams. I mean that's the other thing too. You don't play the teams. Like think of football. Like there's teams in the Big Ten that are going to play somebody who's in the ACC on a given weekend or, something like that, especially with the changes of the schedule. Baseball is just not that way. I mean, Penn State's playing Davidson, Harvard.
You don't play the strength of schedule to where when you get to a team or get to a postseason tournament, you're not really prepared for that.
So well, not only that, but they don't play anybody during the season that gets them any sort of notoriety when we're sitting down and making the selections. Yeah, when we're making the selections for who's going to make it to Omaha, and all this stuff, and super regionals and all that. Like, they're not even a factor because even if they do beat a large majority of the teams, they'd have to go, 23-7.
What do they call it? What's the ranking?
RPI.
Yeah, they don't have a high RPI.
No.
But nevertheless, hey, LSU plays in Houston. They got a little tournament going on in Houston, Texas, Rice, and somebody else I'm forgetting.
Texas State, Louisiana Lafayette. It's going to be there.
Maybe we take a sports scramble trip to Houston, to Minute Maid Park, watch them play for the weekend. That's coming up, I think, in March. So we'll put that on the post-show notes, post-show agenda. We'll discuss that. But let's get to Dog of the Week, and then we got NASCAR Neil waiting in the green room for his NASCAR preview. Everyone's favorite segment. Who got that dog in them? Wade, let's start with you.
All right. Dog of the week. I guess more like dog of the new year. I'm going to give it to the South Carolina men's basketball team. This team is on a 5-game win streak, including top 10 victories over Kentucky and Tennessee in the last couple of weeks. So this team looks really good. A team that's building a pretty good tournament resume. I mean, they could sneak in as a pesky 10 seed or something, depending on how the rest of the SEC schedule plays. But yeah, go Gamecocks. The men's and the women's teams are looking real good.
Yeah, the South Carolina women's team is they a problem. Tyler, what you got for us?
Yeah, I'll go to the women's side of college hoops. I'll go with Juju Watkins dropping a 50-burger against Stanford in the 67-58 win for the Trojans. 51 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 assists. So Juju on that beat. Got that dog.
So we've got he didn't type it like he's supposed to, but
Come on,
Matty Ice. Who got that dog in him? You want to know who got that dog in him?
There we go.
CJ Stroud on the backpedaling dime to Jamar Chase for the touchdown in the Pro Bowl game. I don't think a lot of people watched it, but
scored a touchdown when you needed him.
Yeah. Dog of the week to CJ Stroud from Matty Ice. Jacob, who's your pick for dog of the week?
I think my dog of the new year is women's professional hockey. That
Big
stuff is
time
for
on the
real.
Hockey.
That stuff is for real. All I'm saying is watching women just run each other over into the friggin' boards is gotta be the weirdest thing of all time to watch. I don't know. It's crazy. Like I'm waiting for them to rip the helmets off and start punching each other in the face. Like it's coming. So I don't know. It's pretty wild the growth of it. So yeah, good for women's hockey.
So mine is on the golf side. I sat down and I watched the end of the Live Golf Mayakoba tournament. John Rahm made his debut. His Legion 13 team actually won the team event of it as their debut event. Congratulations to them. They all just got a lot richer. But I'm going to butcher his first name because I thought it was Joaquin Neiman. Apparently, it's Joquan, according to the announcers.
What?
Never heard it pronounced like that.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I think it's Joaquin.
I think it's
right?
Joaquin Neiman.
Or Joaquin. That's what I thought. I thought it was Joaquin. Yeah. They were like, Joquan. And I was like, excuse me? Who? Joaquin Neiman.
Speaking of golf, full swing coming back.
Yeah, March 6th, 8th, something like that.
March is going to be a good month. March Madness and this.
Yeah, Neiman beat Sergio on the 4th playoff hole in the dark to take the dub for the first live event of the season. But that plays into the dog of the week. But on Friday, he shot a 59 course record at Mayakoba, and then shot a 60 the following day. So I mean, dude was dialed all weekend, and then had a couple strokes back of John Rahm and Sergio today. Made that push, got the win in the playoffs. So congratulations to Joaquin, not Joquan, Joaquin Neiman on that win.
On in other news though, in golf, Wyndham Clark shoots a 60 yesterday, and they called the tournament today after 54 holes. They're not going to play on Monday because they didn't play today. They had 45-mile-an-hour winds. So
they're not playing.
They're not playing. They've called the tournament after 54 holes, and Wyndham Clark ends up beating.
Really?
Ludwig Oberg by one or two shots.
Wow.
I thought I saw they suspended it.
They suspended it. They were supposed to tee off today at 2:00. They then said that they were going to resume tomorrow. But since then, they've had a breaking news report that they called
an hour ago. The storm affecting the Monterey Peninsula throughout the day Sunday is forecast to continue into Monday with very strong winds. Like you mentioned, 45-mile-an-hour winds. After consultation with the emergency authorities, we have implemented a shelter in place, and we'll be calling the tournament through 54 holes. So congratulations, Wyndham Clark.
I mean, but also I give credit to the guy for going out and shooting 60. Like
in that condition, yeah.
I mean, in some of those conditions, it was okay. It was nice on Saturday. Like I watched the tournament for the most part, but it was still windy. And watching the guys play the practice rounds, I think on Wednesday, because they split the tournament.
Tony Finau hit a driver onto the par 3, the 90-yard par 3. He hit a driver
on the backside.
Yeah. That's
crazy.
What is that, 7 at Pebble Beach? It's depending, it could play from like 60 to 98 yards. They were saying today they would have had to hit a 5-iron. The pin was in the front at like 92 yards, and they would have expected players to hit a 5-iron to get there because of how strong the wind was.
Yeah, I watched the golf balls on the green. They were blowing all over the place, like the remote control thing. It was so funny, like watching them all over the place. I was like, "That's crazy," but that's pretty wild to think. And I like the event for the most part. I mean, the fact that it's a pro-am, they had Josh Allen out there playing.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody asked me whether I'd want to play in the Super Bowl against whoever or go play, 4 rounds of golf at Pebble Beach on a given weekend, I'm going to Pebble Beach.
I don't think you say that as
screw the Super Bowl.
Josh Allen loves it, man.
He loved it. He was all over. I've never seen Josh Allen so happy in my life. That's happier than I've seen him ever.
Because he spends 9 months a year in Buffalo.
Well, I mean,
conditions are the same in Pebble Beach.
It's like the opposite of
50 mile an hour
the wind, but
it's no snow, all rain.
Well, congratulations, Wyndham Clark. I think that's his fourth victory on the PGA Tour. So, with that, NASCAR Neil, here we go. Start your engine! NASCAR Neil, welcome to the show. The long
center
turn.
Hey, thanks, guys.
How you doing tonight, Neil?
I'm actually very tired today. Last night was a very long day for me.
Neil's getting crunk with his dad.
That's Billy Bob's, right? Billy Bob's down there in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
How was that? A nice concert you went to?
Great time. It's always fun times. My dad came in town for this. So I was like, good time. But
hopefully you weren't driving home like they do on the NASCAR tracks. You took it nice and safe. Maybe call an Uber.
All the way.
There you go. That's the way to do it. So Neil, season is kicking off. Tell us what we need to know. What's your preview here?
Okay, I just want to say, Jacob, that comment about the weather in Southern California actually fits pretty good. The preseason race at the Clash in the Coliseum was supposed to be tonight, actually. It should have been wrapping up right now, but due to that weather, they made a last-minute call to push it up a day, which kind of sent people scrambling. Of people who were coming in for it today ended up finding out yesterday on like 2 hours' notice, say, hey, we're running tonight. Get it over with.
Wait, they pushed it forward?
Yeah.
You don't hear that a lot for sporting.
No.
It's usually pushed back.
Yeah, they had planned to run some heat races. They had it open where it was free to the public to come in and watch. They announced with like a couple hours notice, they go, hey, we're canceling the heats. Going to go ahead and run the race, qualifying set on speed kind of thing. A lot of people weren't happy, but at the same time, it's not practical to really push it back to say Wednesday because the track is built inside the LA Coliseum where where USC plays, and then trying to get back across the country, get the teams ready to go down to Daytona next week, which kicks off on Tuesday.
You gonna be making the trip down there, Neil?
No, I do have a few races planned this year that is not on the list, but I'm excited this year. But so first thing is though, we have some pretty major schedule changes this year's schedule from the previous years. The first one being they moved the first Atlanta race to the second week of the season this year to follow the Daytona instead of kicking off the West Coast swing early.
Okay, nice.
It's kind of idea behind it is it's races kind of similar to Daytona. So the idea is fans who tune into the 500 for the first time and decide to give it a second try. It's something more closer similar to it than a big swing and shift like it has been in the past. They've also added Iowa to the schedule, which is a track that NASCAR's owned for like 20 years. Cup has never been there, but they're headed there for the first time this year in June, which would be exciting to see. New track on the schedule that a lot of these guys have never ran at. Some of the older guys may have ran there in the lower series, but for the most part, it's a pretty fresh experience for a lot of these guys. They've also
corn stalks throughout the track. Hopefully, they get that taken care of. Field of Dreams out there.
Oh yeah. Another thing is this is the 30th anniversary of the Brickyard in Indianapolis, and they're going back to the Oval after using the road course for the last 3 years. So that's going to be exciting to go back to how it should be. To me, I'm old school. The road course
traditional
for a purpose. It's traditional. Like it's the 30th anniversary. Should be exciting. The racing will probably be terrible because Cup cars have never been good on the Oval there at all. So it's then you throw in that due to the Olympics this year, the regular season finale is pushed back a week. So the regular season is no longer ending at Daytona this week, which kind of sucks because the craziness of last minute winner getting in is kind of gone. But due to like the timing of other races having set dates such as the Southern 500 on Labor Day weekend, that's that weekend every year. They've owned the date for 50 years now, or at least. So that's now the cutoff race instead of the opening race of the playoffs, which will still be exciting because of that race it's a very tough track to win at. So you have some guys that are just on a point bubble. It's a track that caused serious problems for them, which will be kind of exciting to see. Like, if you're fighting close and the guy you're fighting with, maybe one of those handful of guys is actually good at getting around the track that's too tough to tame. And then in the playoffs, due to that shift, they've now added the second Atlanta race and Watkins Glen to the playoffs and moved the Texas race out by me to March, which I'm ultimately a fan of. It's super hot here in August and September still, whereas March.
Yeah, it'd be nice weather in March.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a lot cooler. It should be like I think it's actually April is when it is. But yeah, so that should be exciting. Weather will be a lot nicer. I won't be sweating my ass off and dying in the heat like I was in April. That was miserable. But speaking of races I'm going to this year, I've got 3 races on deck this year. I'm going to be going down to COTA down in Austin in end of March, which will be exciting. Never been down there. I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, Texas, which is up by my house in the middle of April. Then in the fall, I'm going to make a trip up to Kansas City and go to the race up there, the playoff race up there, which
nice.
Oh yeah, I think that race puts on. I think it's one of the best races on the schedule right now. Throwing the playoffs, the intensity there should be a good time, And I kind of want to go somewhere new every year. It's kind of my goal, even though COTA is new, but it's like not an oval. So I want to try to go to a new oval every year. So that's all I can. So
right,
yeah,
right.
absolutely.
No,
You're in a good spot for that, to jet around to some of those Midwestern races. Not too hard to shoot up through Oklahoma and into campus. So.
Oh yeah, so I'm excited for that. It's kind of in the middle of football season too, so it's like it'll give me like a break where I'm not going to Baton Rouge for a weekend, and like I've been doing a lot the last couple of years, heading down there a bunch.
Hey, you still got to come down to a game here.
No excuses. I'm coming down to a bunch. My mom is getting season tickets apparently, so I'll be down there.
Go.
Yeah, she's planning on doing that. I'm like, I don't know why you live 8 hours away, but you're doing this, so
Hey, there you go. You mentioned the Kansas City one. Maybe you try out that Kansas barbecue and see what's better, Texas or Kansas.
That's on my list. So it's
There you go.
I'm
Meat
you know me,
only,
I
though.
love. I mean, you know me that you guys know me. I love barbecue, so that's definitely something I'm not going to pass up. I'm not going 8 hours up there not try their local delicacy. We do have 3 rookies this season, which will be kind of exciting to watch. Josh Berry is getting in the 4 car for Stewart Haas Racing. He's replacing Kevin Harvick, who retired, is now in the booth for Fox, which I think he is in the best place of the rookies because Roddy Childers is his crew chief, is regarded as one of the better guys in the garage, and he'd actually thought about retiring, but when they hired Barry for that car, he decided to, hey, I like this kid, I'll stick around with him and stuff. And he's somebody that I like. He signed my hat I'm wearing here tonight. He's from not far from where I grew up, so it's kind of exciting. The next driver is Carson Hocevar, who's joining the Spire team in their expansion, which last year he filled in at Legacy for the better part of the year after Gregson got kicked out of the car for his bad social media use. And he did pretty good in those races.
Bad social media use.
Yeah. So he did pretty good there, but again, I think Spire will be overstretching themselves because they're also adding in Zane Smith in a 3rd charter there. So I think they're going to be kind of overtaxed, and they really weren't a front-running team to begin with. So I think all 3 of those cars are going to struggle, even including Corey LaJoy, who's been their consistent driver. Yes, they did get major sponsorship from Gamebridge, which is a giant investment company. They're pumping a lot more money into the team, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal and stuff. But Zane Smith was the top talent of the Ford camp, and it's kind of shocking that the Ford let him go to Chevy for this year. So, but yeah. And then some storylines I think are excited for this year over as a whole. Ford and Toyota both got new body styles this season. So they unveiled them last night. More crisper. They have a lot more flatter front end, which will help at the tracks. I think it'll help a lot more at Daytona, Talladega, where it's a flatter surface to push with, because the Toyota front ends previously, they were very rounded, very much like the Camry, kind of where there's kind of very for rounded, and they had a lot of issues with cars not getting a good push off those. Speaking of Toyota, Legacy Motor Club switching to Toyota from Chevy, that should be a big transition. They're actually a fully independent team. They don't have an alliance with 2311 and Joe Gibbs Racing, other 2 Toyota teams, which would be interesting because that's typically these teams, you always have some kind of alliance to another team, but they're going fully independent. But Jimmy Johnson did win 7 championships because he didn't know what he was doing. He kind of has a good sense of what he's doing. I'm excited to see what Kyle Busch has in his 2nd-year RCR. He had 3 wins last year, but struggled in the playoffs. I'm curious if he can bounce back, maybe get the 500 win, which he was so close to last year. I'm intrigued with Truex Jr. this year. He won the regular season, but proceeded to not do anything in the playoffs at all. It only made it to the round of 8 because he had all the bonus points and playoff points from the year. I'm hoping to see next week, and I know Chu, who's in the chat earlier, is hoping for that Brad K can finally break his winless streak. He's gone over 2 years now without a win as an owner. His team won.
Big Brad K guy. I'm
the same way, and he's showed last speed last year. His teammate and driver Buescher won 3 races last year, and Buescher made a deep push in the playoffs. I think he can probably do it at Daytona. They were fast there last year. They both led it a while. I'm just hoping when the white flag goes, it's Brad up front, Buescher in second, then their 3rd car, David Reagan behind them pushing in a freight train. That's all I can hope to see. That another thing with coming back is Chase Elliott coming back after struggling last year from breaking his leg last year in the season. He never really had the same mojo and kind of struggled. I kind of think they were pushing too hard for wins later in the season to try to make the playoffs, and which didn't really work out. It's going to be interesting there.
Neil, on Chase Elliott, I want to ask you real quick. Coming back from an injury like that, is there you think there's any sort of like mental hurdle he has to get over to where he trusts himself to? I mean, I know it's not like he's got a broken arm to make the turns, right? But I'm assuming it's his pedal leg. So that plays into that racing, right? Do you think there's any sort of mental block he's got to jump?
I don't necessarily know. I think the more so was that he missed 6 weeks in that 6 weeks of points that he wasn't getting. I mean, his team was still being successful. They made the owner's playoff side, but I think towards the end of the year, instead of just going for consistent finishes, they were trying to go for home runs. For example, I know at Watkins Glen, they made a dumb move on fuel strategy, thinking they had 2 more laps than they did. It comes to find out there was no way on earth they anywhere close to that, and they was because they were just trying to stretch for the win. Yeah, he ran back at the bus stop on the back straightaway at the Glen. So I'm like, that's kind of bad. But we do have 2 drivers who are having their second chance in Cup, or I guess second and a half chance. John Hunter Nemechek is in his second stint with Legacy after doing a year. About 3 years ago, he ran for a smaller team, kind of didn't do much and decided to take 2 years back, went down to the Truck Series, ran a year, dominated. Last year, ran Xfinity Series and dominated again, which was kind of good. And now he's got his move with Legacy with their Shift Toyota because he's a – the other one is Noah Gragson, who got fired last year from Legacy. It was given his second chance in the Stewart Haas 10 car and stuff. He's back. They really don't – I guess their attitude is we don't care what you did last year. We're moving on from that.
Second chances.
Oh, yeah. And then the name, Chet, that you could not pronounce to save your life last year, Shane Van Gisbergen.
That's a tough one.
I know.
I'll have to learn it this year. Sounds like
he won the Chicago Street Course last year. He's coming over full time. Left Australian Supercars. Is running a full season in Xfinity and a part-time season in Cup. I think he's running 9 races with a split between road courses and some ovals. I think he's running both Talladega races to try to get more experience on these big tracks, which he obviously doesn't have, which should be exciting to see. Like, I'm intrigued to see what he did. Yes, he caught lightning in the bottle. Was at a track that he was the only one with any kind of experience on a street course and a stock car kind of thing. But it should be exciting. You know, he's running the Xfinity at Daytona. I'll probably tune in for that and just to see what he can do. But, yeah, and I'm going to go on a limb here at my way too early Final Four.
Okay,
because I think it's you never know who's gonna. I think it's gonna be Byron, Chastain, Bell, and Blaney.
No Van. Whatever
he's not running in Cup this year, so full time. But
place your bets now, folks.
I think Byron's been hot. He was dominant all last year. Made the Final Four. Chastain's been good at Phoenix. He actually won the championship race at the actual race itself, but wasn't in the Final Four to count. Bell's been hot. He's made back-to-back Final Four. And then our reigning champ, I think he's kind of gotten over that hump and is just going to keep the momentum running and stuff. I would say Hamlin, but he always chokes his way through the end. But yeah,
no Truex Jr. You don't think he's going to get over it?
I think he'll have a good year. But we'll really kind of see. He did pretty good last night in the Clash. When I wasn't watching. I was keeping up on Twitter a little bit, But I don't know. I'm really intrigued. He's somebody. He is the oldest driver in the garage right now, and he's probably going to retire at the end of the year. So it's like
it's going to depend. Are getting slow. Gotta throw the grandpa back in the garage.
I mean, him and both. Hamlin's at his peak right now.
You can keep letting them race. Just put a handicap placard up there.
Oh yeah. But something that I will say that y'all mentioned Full Swing earlier, the NASCAR version of that came out this week. I'm personally a huge fan of it. I binged it all in one day. I just got reassigned at work, and I was waiting on my access for my new work. I was like, I'm gonna sit here and watch it all day.
And that time to work.
Oh yeah, and it was
might as well.
Oh, it was really good. They covered the playoffs last year, focused on different drivers behind the scenes. It was kind of cool with their outside lives, with their families. There were some funny moments. Hamlin's a big point of it because he told them, "I don't care what you film. If you ask me, and I say no." But he said this week, he's like, I didn't tell them no for anything. They wanted to ask me about something that they could. They filmed everything. Plus, being a driver owner, it was kind of a good kind of thing.
Yeah.
But,
interesting perspective on things. No, I've seen that on Netflix. I want to check it out. It's on my to-watch list.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good. Like it's kind of like for drivers, especially that kind of like our Drive to Survive, which they've attempted in the past. But I think it's got a good blend of stuff for the casual new fan, so who wants to watch it, but it's also detailed enough for people like me who's been watching it for years, And I'm reading stuff online. I've read a lot of stuff new in some message boards I follow for NASCAR. People, new fans hopping on saying, asking questions because they saw the show and wanted to learn more about it. Which is
growing the sport, growing the game.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it's all about.
It is.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Neil,
Jacob.
I got a couple questions for you. Well, first thing
Okay.
is growing NASCAR. I'm going to attempt. I'm going to try, see what I can do. I'm going to try to make it to Talladega in April.
Ooh.
So I don't know. It's a bucket list thing. I was like, something I've never been to before, and it's just like I want to do it. So
make sure you camp in the infield or camp in some way, or at least camp somewhere.
Camp in the Hilton parking lot, Jacob.
There
Don't
we
even just
go.
go to
There
the
we
hotel.
go.
Yeah.
No, because or have somebody who doesn't drink because you need a party on the boulevard Saturday night. That's part of it.
Well, Steve is not a heavy drinker, so
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
because the boulevard, which is the giant road in the middle of the infield, it's a giant block party Saturday night. I've never been. I've got a good friend of mine who's been. He goes twice. He goes every year, both races. I was trying to get my dad to go, but he wasn't really down to go for the fall one. So I'm like, I guess I'll wait another year. So,
but for my first question is there's a lot of I don't know, mixed feelings on. You mentioned the Ford car and the new design and everything with Toyota and their new design. There's a lot of mixed feelings on it. The Camry, I guess, has been around for a number of years, but I mean, it seems to me like the car has gotten smaller and it's starting to look less and less like the prototypical Camry. But your thoughts on the new design?
I like the new design personally because I think to me it helps them with the front end being flatter, which helps them pushing the bigger tracks like that. I think that's going to be a big advantage for them. Instead of that we are gone from the days of win on Sunday, sell on Monday. That's kind of been gone for years. The cars don't look anything like the production cars anymore. So to me, that doesn't really matter. It's more about the aero and how they'll affect the long run. And ends up being Toyota, this will help them a lot because when this car got developed 2 years ago, they made a bunch of last-minute changes that really hampered the Toyotas and their aero, and some of the changes they made last minute really restricted their ability to do. So this is their first chance to really do a big redesign now that this car has been kind of set design-wise. So I think it's going to help them a lot. Similar for Ford. Ford just unveiled that their new Mustang this year, which is why they're able to do it. I think it's the dark horse is what they call it, which it looks very similar. I like it. A buddy of mine said he thinks it's ugly. I think it looks good and runs good. So we'll know next week.
You're telling me they're racing with Toyota Camrys out there?
No, it's the body type. It's
very loosely.
It's to get the name out there.
These out there.
I rented a Toyota Camry. It's the shittiest car I've ever driven. Okay? So you're telling me they're pushing that thing to 250 miles an hour on this track?
It's got the words on it.
No, I mean it's like the branding, like back in the day they were pretty similar style to it. But Jacob, I'll tell you though, when you go rent a scanner, do the rental on that. It's worth it. I bought mine last year. I love it. It makes the experience a whole lot better.
Huh. All right. And my last question is where am I at on getting the Home Depot car back? I mean, it's been so many years. I just want the Home Depot car
Talk to your corporate. Talk to your corporate, man. Talk to your corporate.
When we get a sports scramble car.
Yeah. We'll make that
next time I make a trip to corporate, I'm having that conversation with somebody.
Do it.
There you go. Tyler, you had a question that you told me before the show that was pretty good.
Yeah, so if you're pretty much just like any of us, new to the sport, like what drivers should we be looking at this season? Maybe a dark horse.
This has been a question, again, all the new fans have been asking. To me, it kind of depends on personality wise. What do you kind of, to me, I'm a big fan of Truex Jr. He's a country kind of guy. Fishes all day.
I want someone that's flashy and causes drama.
Denny Hamlin. Either Chastain or Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin has a new line. When he wins, he will. Last year at Bristol, he said he gets booed a lot. He's kind of he plays like the heel in the sport kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, and
the villain.
And last year at Bristol, and he won. They booed him, and he said, "Oh yeah, that I ended up beating your favorite driver." And they go, "Who's that?" He goes, "All of them." And then he won again last night. At the
He's
Clash.
my guy.
And then last night again, they again booed him, and he said, "Hey, why are you booing me? That all I did was beat your favorite driver again." It was a kind of cool kind of thing.
Drop the mic.
It's amazing. He's a big part of that show. If you get around to watch it, you'll kind of see him. He's also buddies with MJ, good friends with Michael Jordan and a bunch of other golfers. So he's kind of up your alley.
I watched him in a golf video. He sucks at golf, but yeah,
he has an interesting line though that he drops in the show talking about like the athlete side of this is that on any given day he could potentially end up making a better drive than some pro golfers or make a 3-point shot that Michael Jordan couldn't make. None of them could ever get in a car and run a faster lap than he could.
That's true.
That's fair.
It's something like the things like none of these guys could hop in a car at Charlotte and make a faster lap than I can. But on any given day, I could make a better drive or a better putt than say Jordan Spieth or Justin Thomas, who he's good friends with.
But could you do it over and over again?
I'd like to see him hit a drive down with a gallery 10 yards wide, and you got fans lined down it, and him not kill somebody. I don't know about that one, Denny Hamlin.
Hey, he does that every week with a car.
He's got my vote of confidence that I'm going to watch him this season.
Yeah, and he has his own podcast too, which I enjoy. He'll drop in the morning. I'm gonna listen to that first in the morning while I'm starting my work. He just nice to have him give his perspective on stuff. He does a good job with it. He's kind of funny, goofy. But he's also really, really accomplished. He's won 3 Daytona 500s, 2 Southern 500s. He's won every crown jewel, I think, twice, except the Brickyard, which hopefully he can get that this year, maybe, and knock his last crown jewel off the list. Over 50 wins, but no championships. But the dude's still a first ballot Hall of Famer.
There you go. Well, Neil, I appreciate you coming on and joining us tonight for the first preview of the NASCAR season. Of course, we'll be tuning in throughout the year. And I think that pretty much does it for the sports scramble. Any other sports out there? Oh, Super Bowl prediction, Neil. 49ers Chiefs. Who you got?
Like I said in the chat earlier, I think it's going to be I want the 49ers, but I think the Chiefs are going to win on some crazy, dumb kind of
play. Tony, game-winning touchdown.
Or some bad call is going to end up influencing it. Like the ref's going to call something dumb that had no business being called. There's going to some dumb holding play they weren't calling all night long that you could see all day long was happening, and they called on a late drive to cost the 49ers to win.
Wouldn't put it past them. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. We having a watch party for Super Bowl, guys? We decide that right now. What do we do?
It's to be determined. But on the YouTube side, y'all see the number. I'm already setting a goal. By episode 100, we're going to be hitting 1,000. So keep hitting that subscribe button. I'm putting out content pretty much every single day. Shorts go out Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Regular videos go out Tuesday and Thursday. Just put out an LSU baseball hype video. Even if you're not an LSU baseball fan, I promise you it will give you goosebumps.
Yes, it will. Like our friend over at Alabama, former Alabama head coach says, Mr. Bohannon, hammer that subscribe button. Hammer it down. We appreciate everybody watching and tuning in. Comment, like, subscribe. You know what to do. If you don't like watching us, but you still like to listen, we're everywhere you find your pod. We hope you all have a wonderful week, and we will see y'all next time.